Hi heathens! So today's video I'm starting off barefaced but with eyebrows. I have already moisturized and we're gonna get on in using a full face of products I received in both my regular Ipsy Glam Bag and my Ipsy Glam Bag Plus. So without further ado, let's get on in. There is a few items I'm not going to be able to use in this video, or at least not in this beginning portion. One is the Clean It Zero Cleansing Balm. One is the NORS Skin Meditation Gel Cream. And then the Sugar Eyeliner, because I'm actually giving that to a friend, because me and liquid eyeliners just we don't mix very well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and take these off. I'm going to set them right up here next to you. And then I'm going to go ahead and prime my face. This is not the exact one I received because I already had one open, but this is the Too Faced Hangover Replenishing Face Primer. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on so it can have a second to sit before we go in with foundation, because the foundation that we have is the Pure Powder Foundation. I'm probably using way too much of this, but it's on my face now, so we're gonna rub it on in. But yeah, the Pure Pressed Powder Foundation, and I have not used a powder foundation as a powder foundation since sometime in high school, because the powder foundation that I still have now is a Maybelline Fit Me that is a couple shades darker than me, like not enough to be completely the wrong skin tone, but it is a couple shades darker, and I use it as a setting powder or as a touch-up powder as I need to. I don't use it for an actual foundation. Excuse my face being like hella red today. I don't know what's going on, so we're just gonna ignore it. So, first item, super excited about, is going to be the Huda Beauty Amethyst Obsessions palette. And I am really excited to get to play with this. I really do like these shadows. I haven't played with this one yet, but I was telling one of my best friends that these shadows are incredible, but I don't feel like a lot of them are something that you couldn't dupe. If you didn't feel like spending the money on one of these palettes. But I do actually have a plan. So, surprise, surprise. I'm going to just grab a brush and I'm going to go in with this more pinky purple shade here in the corner. Also, my nails are naked. I'm really sorry. I couldn't decide what nail polish or nail strip I wanted to use today. So I'm just giving them a chance to breathe anyway, because every now and then I feel like that's a good idea, you know? I don't know much about nails, so it probably really doesn't make a difference at all, but I like having mine naked sometimes. And today is one of those days. So you're just gonna have to deal with my nudie patootie nails. And I'm sorry about that. I just filed them and put some cuticle oil on them to kind of, because I use acetone to remove nail polish, so that cuticle oil kind of gives a little bit of life back to my cuticle area. But I'm trying to pick between one of my Color Street polishes and this confetti polish that I got from Rue 21 a couple years ago that I haven't used in a long time, and I don't remember if I like. But I can't decide which direction I want to go. Alright, so what I'm going to go for is a bit of a halo eye. So I'm going to take that same color and go into the center or inner part, leaving the center open. And then we will deepen everything up in a minute. Aren't you proud of me? I came into this with a plan. Sometimes I have a half-baked plan, but this one was like a full-fledged, I know exactly what I want to do here. I would say I'm getting better at this, but don't expect it, because this may just be a fluke. They're most certainly not even, but that's okay. So now I'm going to go in with a slightly smaller brush. That brush was one of my BS Mall brushes, by the way, for anyone who cares. I'm going to actually try this. So this is a strange shape brush. It's just one that I got off a Wish. It's like almost flat, but still kind of thick. And I'm going to take the shade right above it, which is a little bit darker. It's a lot a bit darker. And I'm just going to tap into that with the side. And I'm going to stamp it right here on the very outer part of my eye. And then just try to blend it across ever so slightly. That way the outer corner is darker than the inner corner. Oops. This is why I always try to hold eyeshadow palette mirrors at an angle, because I am going to stab a brush into the palette at any given moment. Alright, so I don't know how well you're going to be able to tell, but the outer corners are definitely darker. So now I'm going to take my little handy dandy old flat concealer brush from Eco Tools. I'm going to grab my e.l.f. Camo Concealer, which I use in the shade Fair Warm, which is way too light for my face for concealer, but works perfectly for cut creases and stuff. So literally the smallest bit, and I'm going to just take it right down the center where that open area is. And I know sometimes when people do a halo eye, they put the colors at the top as well and lead this up into it, but I want this one to be just that color going all the way up. I don't want the other shades to go across the top, if that makes sense. Try to get it as even as I can with my loose-skinned eyelids. Alright, so that's one eye. I'm gonna come do the other eye. I'm really excited for this because in my head, it looked really cool. We'll see. Because Lord knows I'm not the best at doing these. I just hope I can get them even enough for it to not look ridiculous. So this morning, I went to the post office to mail out a really late Christmas present, and I felt so bad because it was like, it's the middle of January, but like the holidays just had me so, like, I was strained as far as budget goes throughout the holidays. Because, you know, not only are you, like, buying people stuff for the holidays, but I was out of work for a few days. Granted, we were paid, but it cut into some of my, like, vacation time. So I have to kind of be careful, and then car taxes were due in January. So they're definitely not even, but they're as good as we're gonna get. So now I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna go in with, yeah, I was second guessing my choice for a second. I'm gonna go in with this very top one, which is like almost a I don't want to say like a brownie pink, but kind of. Because I feel like the middle one is more of a violet pink and then the bottom one is a champagne-y pink. So like, and then I'm just gonna tap it onto the concealer. And I'm gonna build it up to my desired opacity and just gently tap it across the edges to kind of give a look of it being blended. But since it's a shimmer shade, I'm not actually going to put a brush to it. Okay, this actually worked out perfect as the shade choice because I wanted something that would like stand out but wasn't a super stark difference. And I was afraid the other two, if I did it all the way across, would be a little too light and it would be like, whoa. And I wasn't going for anything crazy intense. So that is what we're looking at. I'm going to do just a little bit more packing and patting because now I'm going to take my ring finger and I am going to go in with the lightest champagne-y shade, just a teeny bit, and I'm going to tap it right on the very center to just brighten it up ever so slightly. And that is the eye look using the Huda Beauty Amethyst Obsessions palette. Now, part I'm super nervous about is the foundation. So I'm going to try this 2 different ways. Mine did arrive cracked. They are sending me a replacement, but I'm going to see if I can use this without breaking it anymore. I tried to get rid of all the broken bits, but like as you, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like all in the lid. So I looked up different ways to use this because like I said, I don't use pressed powder foundations too often, and they said you can use a sponge or a brush. So I'm going to try a sponge on one side and a brush on the other and then switch if I need to. So this is just a dampened beauty sponge. And I'm going to actually take it on my finger and kind of put it on my face and then blend it out with the sponge, I guess. I don't know if I want to stick a damp sponge directly into the compact. I don't know if you can. I don't know if that's like per foundation. I know powder foundations tend to provide a little more sheer coverage, so I'm not expecting it to be like full coverage, but you know, a little something. I don't know if I like the way that it's doing with the sponge too much. I feel like I can definitely see where I've placed it. And I don't like having to like drag with a sponge. I don't know if it's the foundation or just the way it works with a sponge. I'm just all kinds of pinky red today. Alright, so the brush that I had is kind of stained blue because this is a brush that I used for my Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas Halloween look. I'm just going to go over that because I just wasn't crazy about that finish. So I'm going to take more on my finger, go in with the other side, which is the one that I will be using the brush to blend out, like just the brush. And I'll see if it's just the way the foundation like is sticking to my skin or if it was the way that it worked with a beauty blender or, excuse me, a beauty sponge, because that's not a beauty blender. I always want to call all of them beauty blenders, even though Beauty Blender is the name of a brand. So I'm trying to get better at that. because especially when I'm doing videos, I don't want to be misleading and be like, oh, look at my beauty blender. And it's like clearly not. All right, so I'm not seeing where it sat as heavy when I go in with a brush. So I'm going to try to just build up a little bit of coverage in the areas that I feel like I need it the most. And I'm going to take this and tap directly into it using my brush. Trying to be aggressive enough to get some on the brush, but also gentle enough where I'm not cracking into that area that's already broken. And I'm just going to pat it on, almost like I do with my setting powders, because it is a powder. So I feel like packing motions may be a little more beneficial than sweeping motions. If anyone uses powder foundation and knows a lot about it, any tips and tricks would be much appreciated. Also, I received mine in the shade Porcelain LP4. This is really kind of tough, partially because the pan size is so small. I feel like if it was a little bigger and I could get my brush in there a little better, it might be a little easier, but my brush literally takes up the whole pan. So, like, trying to not hit that broken side too much is kind of difficult. Okay, I think I'm powdered as much as I'm gonna get. All of these little spots are still showing through, but I feel like I've evened out my complexion enough to be okay for now. So we did not receive any blush or bronzer, so I'm going to totally skip that step because it's not something that I'm going to do every day anyway. And I'm going to go into using this Luxie medium fan brush, and I'm going to take a highlighter I've been getting back into, which I don't hear talked about near enough. It's really nice. It is the Mirabella Brilliant Mineral Highlighting Powder in the shade Swirling Pearl. And like, I'm going to swatch it on the back of my hand so you can see what I'm talking about. I just took my hand through it, or my finger through it. I hope it picks up. It's just really, really pretty. It's got a very, very nice reflect. At first, I was a little iffy. Then it started to grow on me, and I'm getting back into it. So I'm going to just swirl the brush around in there. Yeah, that's nice. It's just a fan brush. I mean, I don't thus far like it any better or worse than any of my other fan brushes. It does the trick. And I know a lot of people do not like fan brushes. I don't mind them, especially if I'm going for a slightly lighter bit of highlight. Like if I'm going in with something a little too heavy or a little too dark or glittery or something and I just want to tone it down a little bit. I find that fan brushes are especially useful. And what you can do is defeats the point of them being a fan, but sometimes I'll pinch it like this and go in and then just build up a little more in the areas that I want a little more attention to, and then let it fan back out to kind of blend it. I'll do that on the other side to get it even. Yeah, I mean, it's a fan brush, that's fine. I'm gonna do my mascara real quick. We did not receive a... I had a cat hair in my mouth. We did not receive a mascara. So I'm going to go super simple, super affordable, and I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Mega Wear. I love this mascara, and it's one of my favorite lower lash mascaras ever. It's got a really nice, long, thin wand. So I'm going to do that real quick. This is one that I do dip back into between eyes, just FYI. Alright, so that is mascara on. Eyes done. And then here is where I actually had to make a choice. So I received 2 lipsticks, 1 in each box. I received the Nature's Cartel Gin and Platonic, which I'm going to swatch under that highlighter. And I'm afraid that this one is just a little too berry toned for this look. So I'm actually going to wipe off my balm. And I'm going to go in with my Context Liquid Lip in the shade Mad Love. This was the like nude one that I got. And I'm hoping, since all I did was swatch it in the other video, that it's not too nude for me. Got a little stringy. Just got a flat doe foot. It's a little stickier going on than I expected. I don't mind that shade at all. This is much more the shade of nude that I would be drawn to. Oh, I like that. I actually kind of like that. So, this, albeit a little bland, is the finished look. Let me know your thoughts down below. All in all, I'm pretty happy with all of these products. I'm gonna have to play around with the powder foundation just because it's not something that I'm used to, but like for sheer pretty fine everyday coverage, I've got it like stuck to my hand somehow. It looks okay, like it evened everything out pretty well. It's not very cakey looking, which sometimes powders can be. The fan brush worked fine. I love these eyeshadows. And I actually had a plan this time, so everything looks really good. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more of my content, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!